For choking, place the thumbs or finger pads firmly but gently onto both upper inside area of the thighs, as illustrated.
There's many situations where the Heimlich maneuver might be very difficult. If you've got a large person and a small person that needs to apply it, or you've got someone that has very brittle bones, or a variety of other situations. So another option is what we call high ones. They're on the upper inside of the thigh on both sides. You're putting the thumbs into the high ones and just pressing. Now, if you were to feel on your legs, some people have a slight indentation there. And if it's not circulating, conducting properly, it can actually be a little more sensitive in that area than other areas of the body. That expands the throat instantly and works, what we know to date, all sources of choking, whether it's closing off or whether you actually have food lodged or something lodged.
Is this neat stuff? It really is. And if this is your first exposure, I want to caution you, because the farther you go, the more you're going to find yourself challenged. So I always like to say to people, be willing to set aside for just a moment or two what you believe. And be willing to believe for a moment or two what you find difficult to believe, because your beliefs will be challenged as we move through. Now, many of you are here because you're ready to be challenged and you're interested. Choking. You've heard of the Heimlich maneuver. And what's the danger of the Heimlich maneuver? Well, sometimes you can crack a rib and you can actually cause harm. This technique to stop choking simply involves reaching in, and there's a location right in the inner thigh we call the high one. By simply reaching in there and pressing firmly against that, you'll feel a separation between the muscles if you feel around in the inner thigh there. And if you press in firmly, this is another technique where there is some pressure applied. There's only just a couple that we do this way. As you press in firmly, it will cause the energy to back up into the throat and expel things out of the throat. What's the chances of breaking a rib doing that? None. You can cross the hands. Either way, the main thing is to simply apply some pressure to that location.
Procedure for choking. Here's your knees, here's your groin, about 3/4 of the way from the knee to the groin on the inside of the thigh. If you're with tissue and you feel there, sometimes you could find a little softer tissue. You might even find, if there's a little congestion, a little indentation. Indentation could be anywhere from this size to this size. That's your high one. Plus, if you were to poke around a little bit, that sensitive spot on most people, that's your high one. So you just touch your high ones, and it expands your throat. It stops choking. Works for a lot of things. It's also good for digestion and tons of things. When you're in an emergency situation, they want help. It's the only thing they're thinking about. In that situation, they want air. Now, here's something I didn't know, because I know it expands the throat, stop choking. I didn't know that if you have food lodged in your mouth, what's going to happen when that expands? If it's going to go in. But through experience, I found out it pops out. So I don't know or haven't heard of an incident where anything that's stuck here, when you apply this, they aspirate. So what you do is you apply this, it helps resolve the situation, and usually very quickly.
On someone else, place your left hand on their right upper thigh with your thumb on the inside of the thigh, and place your right hand on their left upper thigh with the thumb on the inside of the thigh. To apply to yourself, just hold left to left and right to right. The location is on the inner side of the thigh, about 3/4 of the way from the knee toward the groin. Press lightly and gently until choking stops.